How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Craig, just get this up on the collar.
Where? Here?
Yeah, just pinch that. There we go. And then you can just hold that or throw it in your pocket.
What?
That's the pigeon. Yeah, that's the
The anti-pigeon.
anti-pigeon.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
a real.
It's like an alarm.
Oh, really?
No, it's like a
scarecrow or something like that to keep
supposed to simulate it. Yeah.
Why don't we just put up a no pigeon sign? So easy to fix.
Well, they don't read very well, Rob.
I've done that to them.
Well,
Wondering if there's something like that for
This
kids
is-
that wouldn't mind a couple of their friends not coming by.
this is the quality ideas we get from Rob Vanstone on the daily. Everybody.
I was joking. Everybody's supposed to double over in laughter. This is for the first time ever.
Here's Craig, just your thoughts on the announcement that was made today by the CFL.
Yeah, I think it was part of the evolution of the league, and as the commissioner mentioned, we're trying to evolve and make sure the product remains entertaining, and the whole goal around today's announcement was to keep the game moving. Obviously, transition from less field goals, more touchdowns, more scoring, which obviously leads to a better product for our fans. So that was the reason behind the changes, and just part of the evolution of the league and the commissioner's vision.
How has it been received? Has there been reaction from the fans coming into your office?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, it's mixed with anything. Anything to do with change, obviously, you get mixed reaction. A lot of support for I think the reasons behind that, to try to increase scoring, and then obviously there's concerns, as there always is, around any change to our game, and so it's been mixed, and so we kind of expected that, and so we'll pass that feedback on to the league and try to get back to our fans.
Have you started talking to the city of Regina about moving goalposts and changing turf?
Yeah, we so obviously this was kept really quiet, and so we had a very initial conversation with them around that. So those are the things we have to work through going forward now.
So will that be the city's responsibility to make those changes, or you guys as a club?
Well, it's a City of Regina owned field, so again, those are the things we have to have conversations with them. The reality is the turf was first put in when the stadium opened in 2017. So the reality is the turf is getting close to its end of its useful life here. So those are conversations we're going to have irregardless of today's changes.
It's early, but has there been conversations with amateur football with the different partners that play here? And if not, what's the message to them?
Yeah, those conversations have to take place. So I know the CFL had a plan to, right before the announcement, reach out to amateur football. So the answer to that, Taylor, is no. And so obviously we have to have those conversations. I think the major change around the field, one of the major reasons for that delay to 2027 was to allow for those conversations to place, rather than try to enact that change in 2026. You now have a fair amount of runway to have those conversations with amateur football, which is really, really important. Those are important conversations to have.
In terms of new turf, if it's potentially new turf, would it be stitched in again? Is that kind of the design of how you guys like it here?
Yeah, I think originally there was a lot of merit to having stitched turf, but I think as things have evolved at the stadium, I think there's probably more merit to not having it stitched moving forward.
So that's a conversation that'll happen eventually.
That's a conversation that'll happen with the city, though, because that's our viewpoint on it, but we'd have to obviously get the city's view on it.
Right, and I imagine there's an opportunity to maybe potentially do something with the end zones now, whether it's more seating and whatnot, more kind of up close and personal.
Yeah, that's one of the opportunities, I guess, that arises when you change the size of the field, if we do have additional space. And you've seen those successfully executed in other stadiums where there's, whether it's premium seating or fan, things similar to what we have going on in Peel Country. They're very, very popular. I can say that with certainty. And so there's potentially some additional opportunities as a result of that.
Craig, of the changes that were announced today, which among them do you think will be most impactful?
I think obviously the change of the goalposts. I think just opening up that field there, the end zone when you're in the score zone. The data that the CFL sort of provided sort of indicated there's going to be a significant increase in touchdowns, they believe, and increased completion percentage in the end zone. And so anytime you have an opportunity to score more touchdowns, and with all respect to our kickers, less field goals, I think is a good thing for fans, because that's what fans. The touchdown is the most exciting play we have. There's a reason that Gaynor drives around the field after touchdowns and not field goals.
Obviously, rule out in the future possibility of 4 downs coming to the game. Is there currently support among the board for that? Was that part of this discussion at all?
Honestly, that conversation hasn't come up in a long time, and it doesn't come up quite. It doesn't come up. So it's just something that doesn't come up right now. I know it came up today as part of these announcements. I think there's a lot of speculation around what the announcements might be, but that's not an active conversation.
And Stuart said he had a small working group when he discussed all these things. Were the teams involved? How were the franchises involved in the discussion?
Yeah, it was mostly, it's CFL led. But I know they had people around that table who had excellent, knowledge that could input into that, and a lot of it was data driven too. So just in terms of looking at the data around what happens, how teams operate near the end zone, and then obviously indirect and some direct fan feedback too.
So he contacted you. You were aware all these things were coming.
Yeah, I was aware they were coming prior to today. Yeah.
What's the sacred cow of this league? What wouldn't you give up on the franchise?
That's a interesting question. I think what we found today was a lot of the things I think that make the CFL unique. The majority of the things that make the CFL unique stay in place. So 3 downs, 12 players aside, the wide field, unlimited motion. Those are uniquely Canadian. And today wasn't about changing our game. It was around making a great game better, and I think that was what they believed today's changes would do ultimately.
How do changes like this come about? It's obviously not a discussion that happened over the course of the weekend. How does this happen?
Well, I think it starts with the commissioner starting those conversations, and as Darryl mentioned, he gathered a small working group under an NDA, and they started sort of looking at what changes would improve the game, improve the product, improve the excitement of the game, increase scoring. So that was, to my understanding, the mandate, and these were the changes that they came up with.
I was told once that everybody wants progress, but nobody ever wants change. How mindful and cognizant of you was the entire league as to what this message might send to fans?
Yeah, I think that's always top of mind. Obviously, our fans are extremely important to us, and you're right. Though you have to have that delicate balancing act of adapting and evolving, and evolving to sort of a modern sports environment, and even a modern. In terms of how people consume products now, and obviously touchdowns are things that people consume in highlights are very, very important now. So just adapting to sort of the current environment is important. So it's always a delicate balancing act between respecting tradition and respecting what makes our league, unique, but also being willing to evolve.
Fans have already posted some of them said they won't be renewing their tickets. How worried are you that these changes will impact your bottom line and the time in which fans will kind of come back to the CFL?
Yeah, obviously, whenever you hear fans say that, it's a concern. I think it's early. I think there's a lot of education that the league needs to do, and we need to do with our fans as well, so they understand the rationale behind the changes and what's changing and what's not, and again, like I said, the purpose behind it. And the purpose behind it was really to swap touchdowns for field goals. And I think me as a fan, I would prefer to see 5 touchdowns per game versus 5 field goals per game.
How do you think the 35-second timing rule is going to affect things?
Yeah, I think that the consistency is the biggest thing. I think right now it's something that's a little bit misunderstood, honestly, where everybody thinks it's a 20-second running clock. Right now, it's not. So it really it can be really inconsistent right now in between plays, the distance between plays. So I think you're going to have a fair bit of consistency there, and I think there will be a sense of urgency as well. Just teams will have a different sense of urgency because that clock's running.
Any concern, though, moving to more of an NFL-style continuous play clock? Just cliche in the CFL is, never leave a game with 3 minutes left, anything can happen no matter the spread. Is there any concern that, if there's a minute left and this team doesn't have any timeouts, the game's essentially over now?
Yeah, no, my understanding of that in particular is the rules committee is going to be looking in particular at the last 3 minutes, because I think everybody understands that the last 3 minutes in the CFL are unique and special, and I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done just to ensure that those sort of comebacks and sort of last 3 minutes remains an exciting part of our game.
How can they now get rid of the command center?
Well, it's now the replay center, so yeah.
Would you have a message then to Rider Nation when they look at the changes as a whole?
Yeah, I think this is just part of the league looking to evolve at a critical time, and again, I think it's done with the right intentions of trying to increase the number of touchdowns that are scored, which are again the most exciting play in the league, and you know, the consistency amongst the play clock is, you know, and then the rouge has been talked about a lot. So those 3 changes, you know, we're all done with trying to improve the product and the entertainment value of our league.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks.
I was worried when you talked about end of useful life. I took that personal.
No, I said the turf.